The funny thing about water is that you don't always notice when you've stepped into it. You just look down one day and realize you're already ankle deep. If Pisces were a hosta, it wouldn't demand your attention. It would receive it, though. Pisces season has a way of softening the edges of things, not by making them smaller, but by making them quieter. Today isn't about astrology or personality traits. It's about what I've noticed in the garden when I stop trying to name things quickly and let them show me who they are. Some of the most important things I've learned didn't come from fixing what was wrong, but from noticing what simply wasn't the same. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm Michelle, and this space is a lot like gardening. Some things take hold right away, others take time, and a few surprise us entirely. Hostas, gardens, friendships. If you're craving a quieter, more reflective way to think about gardening, you're always welcome here at Hosta Heaven. Subscribing makes it easier to return. And today, as Pisces season drifts in, I've been noticing the hostas that don't push forward. They pull you inward. Pisces is often described as intuitive, sensitive, dreamy, but I don't experience Pisces as fragile. I experience it as permeable. Pisces doesn't stop at the edge. It lets things pass through. Feelings, moments, maybe meaning. And in the garden, there are hostas that do that same thing. They don't sit on the landscape, they dissolve into it. I'll admit, these are not always the hostas I notice first. I'm drawn to structure, contrast, strong edges, movement. Plants that declare themselves. Pisces doesn't exactly do that. The hostas that remind me of Pisces, they wait. And waiting can make us uneasy. Which is funny, because if there's one thing the garden has taught me, it's that my discomfort is usually the invitation. Apparently, I'm still learning how to stand still without trying to solve every moment of every day. So, on to the Pisces hostas. The first hosta that leans Pisces for me is Earth Angel. This is a plant that feels like it's exhaling. Blue-green leaves with wide, creamy margins. Softly rippled, never rigid. Earth Angel doesn't arrive with fanfare. It settles in, and then it expands slowly, generously, almost protectively. In my garden, it became a place, not a specimen. A place where light lingers longer, where shadows soften. It reminds me that Pisces energy isn't about floating away, it's about holding space without holding tight. Some plants feel like they're growing. Earth Angel feels like it's listening. Some plants don't change the garden by standing out. Instead, they change how everything else feels around them. And sometimes Pisces shows up not as a feeling, but as a quiet discrepancy. Something that doesn't argue with you, but doesn't quite line up either. Another hosta that drifts on the tide like Pisces is Guacamole. This one surprises people. It's lush, it's broad, it's fragrant. But what makes it Pisces to me isn't its size or its color, it's its generosity. Guacamole spills and overlaps. It doesn't respect neat boundaries. And because I know guacamole so well, I noticed when something didn't quite match. Years ago, I bought 3 guacamole hostas at a neighborhood plant sale. This was before I decided I only needed one of each hosta because there are so many to include in my garden. It was early in the season. They were emerging. Green, healthy, unremarkable. Nothing to suggest a mystery. I planted all 3 together. Same light, same soil, same care, and for a while they behaved exactly as expected. Until late summer arrived. When they bloomed, something was off. Not wrong, they were healthy, but they were out of sync. 2 bloomed together, and 1 on a different timeline. All three were fragrant, that familiar, beautiful scent, but the timing told a different story. And once I noticed, I couldn't ignore it. I needed to understand. I looked closer. The margins weren't visible. The green wasn't as rich, still lovely, just not quite the same. I started calling it not guacamole. Not unkindly, just honestly. I didn't rush to name it. I let the season continue, and by the end of that summer, it revealed itself. Royal Standard, a beautiful hosta, fragrant, elegant, an old beauty that's relatively common, and already living elsewhere in my garden. I love guacamole. That's why the difference, that is Royal Standard, mattered. And once I understood what it was, I didn't need to fix it, no need to correct it. I didn't need to move it or take it out. I just needed to understand that it wasn't guacamole. And now, late in the summer every year, when you least expect it, those fragrant guacamole blooms arrive, filling the air, the evening, without asking for permission. Pisces is like that too. Pisces doesn't knock. It drifts in on the current. And guacamole behaves similarly. You don't plant it for the flowers, but one evening you stop walking because the air smells like something you can't quite place. In my garden, names matter, not because they control the plant, but because they honor what it already is. A third hosta that leans Pisces for me is Love Story. And maybe this one feels obvious, but sometimes the obvious is obvious because it's so reliably true. Love Story has movement, pie crust edges, a rhythm that feels almost handwritten. It doesn't feel engineered. It feels remembered. And at Hosta Heaven, that feeling didn't stay abstract. Love Story became the hosta we chose to give away for breast cancer awareness. Not because it's pink. It's not. Not because it's symbolic in an obvious way. It's not. We chose Love Story because of the name, solely because of the name and what it invites. We give it to men and women in the spring, and when we do, we encourage conversations. The conversations people put off, the questions that feel a little uncomfortable, but truly matter. All we ask as we hand over a Love Story hosta is that they talk to the people they love about breast cancer screening, about paying attention, about staying, about keeping their love stories going strong. There's something very Pisces about that. Not urgency, not fear, just care flowing outward. In the garden, it never looks static. Even when nothing is moving, Love Story looks like it might. Pisces understands that stillness doesn't mean stagnation. It means depth. Love Story doesn't demand meaning. It carries it. And trusts the right hands to hold it as it carries the conversations that keep our love stories going strong. Here's a distinction while exploring hostas that trend Pisces. I've noticed some hostas ask you to look at them. Pisces hostas ask you to stay, to spend time with them. They don't reward speed, they reward presence. And if you rush past them, they won't punish you. They'll simply wait. You'll come around again. The garden has been quietly teaching me this for years. Not everything meaningful announces itself. Some things are revealed only when you soften your pace enough to feel the tide instead of pacing it, chasing it, or trying to measure it. It's like taking time to smell the roses, or the hostas, or whatever other scent the breeze carries through the garden. If the garden is where you contemplate what life reveals, you're always welcome here at Hosta Heaven. Until the next chapter in the Hosta Garden.